I cannot see how the church in Port of Spain would have evolved as quickly as it did without the Synod process. All of its disruptions, all of the differences that we had, all of the challenges that Synod brought, it really is it brought an energy, a focus, a dynamism to our church that I don't know how we would have evolved to this if not for the process. I remember one moment in the planning process when we debated about the number of participants for a very long time. And they went back and forth. Eventually, in abundance of generosity, the group said, maybe it's 250 participants we will have. And they were thinking themselves magnanimous and big in this. And the amazing thing is that when they went to Archbishop Gilbert, Archbishop Gilbert said, well, he said, what? 250? No. I want a synod with 1,000 people. This church is too big to only have 250 people speaking for the whole church. I don't want an echo chamber with everybody accustomed to hear. I want to hear new voices. 1,000. They pleaded with him. He said, you didn't hear me? 1,000. And he was insistent. I don't know where he pulled the number from. But he wanted, and I mean, the sittings of the synods were 900 and something people.
Yeah.
So, it was something that he said nothing less than 1,000.
Wow.
Don't come with anything. And that itself was a very prudential decision, because what you had in that is a lot of people who never had an opportunity to have their say for church were now included in a way that they had never been included before. I mean, 250 people, by the time you had the priests and the religious, that's 100 and something. Then you'd have had 2 people per parish after that. That's your synod hall is now full. When you have 1,000 people, you're talking about a couple of people from every parish. So you're talking about a wider perspective coming at the church and working and deliberating with the church. So I think the shift in numbers was significant pastorally, because it brought the church to see herself from a different perspective, and not just the center, but all from the whole periphery of the church. There was a voice that allowed a different engagement that I think has settled the church in Port of Spain.
How did the church, moving from 250, which I find is a challenge in itself, to move to 1,000 people, and bringing 1,000 people together? That's 1,000 voices, I mean, that must have been a challenge.
Well, anybody who had been to the 3 sittings of the Synod would know one phrase: be it resolved. Be it resolved. Everybody knew be it resolved. And everybody got a great acquaintance with Roger's rules and understood how they worked. So, we learned. It was a whole culture shift. It was we never been to Parliament. We never had board meetings. We never had played by those sets of rules. So it was a whole culture shift. But, the added numbers allowed us to get this diversity of views. It opened up for a genuine sense of renewal. The process was not neat and tidy by any means. They had moments on the floor when people went back and forth on a particular issue, not seeing eye to eye on the issue. But it was unwieldy, it was disruptive. And all of that, to say the Spirit was alive and active.